Higgsfield might look simple when you first open it, but the settings that can take your output quality to the next level are switched off by default. And the gap between leaving them off and turning them on is way bigger than you'd think. So in this video, I'll show you all 7 of those features and how to turn each one on to get the most out of this platform. If you want to follow along with me and turn on these settings yourself, I've left a link for Higgsfield in the description below. Once you log in, you'll notice that everything is organized at the top navigation bar. The first setting has to do with Cinema Studio, so click on that. There you'll see 2 modes, image and video. Make sure you're on image mode for this one. Then from the model selector, where settings like cinematic locations and AI cast are, click on Higgsfield Sol 2.0. Then you'll see 2 new options pop up, character and style. Character is about creating consistent characters with AI, and Higgsfield itself offers a lot of features for that which most people know about. But the style is a baked-in film look, a full color grade applied to the image as it generates, and it never touches your prompt, only the way the shot ends up looking. That matters because for a full workflow, the image you create becomes the foundation for everything else. So whatever look I pick here stays on every video I make from it. I'll keep the aspect ratio at 16:9, paste in a simple prompt of a woman in a Greek island, and run that same prompt across a few different styles so you can compare them side by side. On general, this is the neutral baseline with no real grade on it. It still looks like it was captured with a real camera since this is Cinema Studio, but it doesn't have anything unique. This is the one you've probably been using without thinking about. Warm contrast film and warm vivid film both push it warmer, the contrast gets punchier and the colors get richer, so it instantly looks way more like a real travel shot. Nature light is the most realistic one, since it looks like actual daylight is coming through to the image, and BW film takes the same photo straight into vintage black and white. All of these look completely different, and yet they came through the same prompt. The only thing that changed each time was the style I picked. I'll go with the warm vivid one. That warm saturated look is my favorite of the 5, and it's what I'll use for the rest of the video. So whenever I use this one for anything else, the whole grade is already decided on the image. From one setting, you'd usually scroll straight past. Now normally you'd take that image and animate it, but the fastest way to do that isn't by writing a prompt at all. That faster way is a setting called Higgsfield Viral Presets, where you never write a prompt or describe a single move, you just pick one from the existing library. So in the homepage, scroll down until you find Higgsfield Viral Presets, then click View All Presets, and all the presets are right there. And the best part is that they run straight from one photo of a face. They don't require anything else. I'll start with Drown in Music, set the aspect ratio to 9:16, and generate. This one comes out like a moody music video, and I just added the music on top myself afterwards. Then I'll switch to 2000s Paparazzi. It instantly looks like old paparazzi footage. It has that grainy and chaotic feel. The last one I want to test is CCTV, also at 9:16. This one's my favorite. It looks exactly like I got caught on a security camera, and the movement is the most realistic out of the 3. Now keep in mind, these aren't perfect. The movements are a bit stiff, and the facial consistency, while it does remain, isn't natural, and the expressions don't really change. It's not as good as something you'd get with a detailed prompt, but presets are the fastest way to try wildly different energies on the same character. Another catch is that these also come with a set resolution which isn't very high quality, but the next feature is meant to fix just that. This time, click on video at the top navigation bar and then choose video upscale. I want to upscale the paparazzi and the CCTV videos I made, so I'll start by uploading the first one. Then from the model selector, click on Topaz Video, set the quality to 4K, let it run, and download it. This is already a huge improvement. Upscaling doesn't touch the motion or anything else in the video. It only bumps up the resolution. So the change is subtle, but the same video comes back noticeably sharper and clean enough to hold up on a full-size screen. Now I'll do the same thing for the CCTV one, and here it is. It holds up a lot better. So with one pass each, both videos come out in full 4K ready to use. But making something look professional is one thing, and knowing whether it'll actually perform before you post it is something else entirely. Higgsfield has a specific app for this called Virality Predictor. This one is in the Apps tab, where Higgsfield keeps all all its extra tools, and this one is one of the more underrated ones. So I'll click on Apps and pick the Virality Predictor. This basically analyzes an entire video in real time, the hook, the pacing, and all the other elements, and hands back a read on how likely it is to perform. So instead of posting and hoping, you find the weak spot while it's still easy to fix. I want to see how my own video holds up first, so I'll run that upscaled paparazzi one through it, and it breaks the whole thing down. Not only does it give you an overall score of the video, but it analyzes other things like the visual cortex, the attention control, the focus drift, and the language network. For our video, we get an overall score of 44 out of 100, which is on the lower end. And with these percentages, you can see exactly what doesn't work and edit it before you post. Then I'll try it with a quick puppy video just to see how it handles something completely different. This time, the overall score is 51 out of 100, which isn't much higher than before, but it does have higher attention control, which is good for social media. And then for a real test, I'll use this random bike video I found on Instagram. You'll notice that none of them score high, even the ones that genuinely look good, which is the whole point. It's analyzing deep enough so that it'll always find something you can improve on and get better retention. With this app, you know exactly how likely it is for something you made to perform and where it's weak instead of guessing. But every setting so far has been about stylizing or analyzing something without giving you a lot of control. The next one lets you handle your outputs like an actual director would. Now, those director settings are actually 3 separate dials, and they all run off one shared setup that I'll build first. So head back to Cinema Studio on image mode. There, I'll set the model to auto and upload the same picture of myself from before. With this, I'll generate one starting frame of myself standing on a crowded city sidewalk with people passing around me. The whole point of this setup is to keep everything identical so you can see how each setting really affects the final result. Then I'll bring that frame into video mode as my start frame and lock in the settings I'll use every time: 1080p, 16:9, audio on, and shot control on smart. From here, that same frame and those same settings stay fixed across all 3. And inside each test, I keep the prompt constant too. With that locked in, the first dial is genre, which sets the whole mood and pacing of a video. So I'll write one prompt and start it on action at 8 seconds. This one comes with multiple shots. The movement is fast and tight to match the prompt, and the whole action genre really comes through. Then, without changing anything else, I'll switch the genre to epic and run it at 10 seconds. This one goes the complete opposite way, adding surreal elements to make everything look more cinematic. The camera movement and the slow motion shot are all things directors actually add to their films to create an epic moment, and Cinema Studio understood that from the genre. So that one drop down alone took the same shot from a grounded action scene to something completely superhuman, and I never touched the prompt. But that's just one of the 3 dials. The next dial is camera moveset style, and instead of describing how the camera should move in your prompt, which is always easy to mess up, you just pick the movement you want from here. I'll keep that exact same starting frame and the same prompt from the genre test, so the only thing changing this time is the camera style. First, I'll set it to Intimate Observer and run it at 8 seconds. The camera stays right next to me and moves with me the whole way, like someone's actually running beside me holding it. It feels a lot more intentional this way, like someone actually directed it. Then I'll switch it to Raw Chaos and keep everything else the same. This one goes shaky and handheld with a lot of quick movements, so instead of calmly following me, it puts you right in the middle of the rush. It also affects my own movements too. Everything is more chaotic and aggressive. So the exact same run feels either controlled or frantic, depending entirely on the camera. And I never described a single move in the prompt. That covers how the camera moves, but the last dial controls the camera itself. And that last dial is camera settings, which is the most technical one out of the 3. Instead of one setting, you get 4: the camera, the lens, the focal length, and the aperture, and you mix and match them like a real camera setup. This is honestly my favorite one because the level of creative control it gives you is insane, and there are so many combinations you can try out. The camera sets the base look, clean and modern or grainy and filmic, and the lens controls how sharp everything is and how much the background blurs. Then focal length is how wide or tight the shot is framed, and aperture is how much of the scene stays in focus. It still runs off that same starting frame, but this time I'll change the prompt to me walking toward the camera as it moves backwards with me, since that makes the focus really easy to see. First, I'll build a shallow focus look, so a clean digital camera, an anamorphic lens, 75mm, the aperture wide open at f1.4, and run it at 10 seconds.
Notice how I'm the only one in sharp focus here. The people and background around me stay blurred because I'm using a shallow depth of field.
I come out in sharp focus while the entire crowd behind me blurs out completely, so all the attention stays on me, and I even added dialogue. Then I'll build the opposite, a deep focus look, with a raw 16mm camera, a vintage haze lens, 14mm, and the aperture closed down to f11.
With this camera setting, it's not just me that's in focus. You can also clearly see the people around me because the depth of field is much deeper.
Now everyone, including the characters in the background, is sharp, so the shot suddenly looks like a real place instead of just me standing in front of a blurry background. On its own, it looks like a small change, but it's the detail that makes a video feel deliberately shot instead of just generated. That's the most technical setting of the 7, and the one that takes your videos from looking AI generated to genuinely high quality. Each one of these settings is automatically turned off when you first log in to Higgsfield, but they're the ones that will make your projects look intentional. So if you want to try them yourself and create professional videos with these settings, use the link in the description to sign up to Higgsfield. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.